Hello and welcome to the Baggies podcast YouTube channel. Welcome to another video here on the YouTube channel. It's great to have you back. Today it's a match preview for West Bromwich Albion versus Southampton, which kicks off on Monday night at 6 p.m. and I think that we are at home at the Hawthorns yet again after a great win at Chelsea. We're going to be discussing all the stats, facts and build up towards this one, which is a huge game for the Albion team. But however, if you are new around here, I want to see you subscribing. I want you to stay around forever on this channel. I want you to go for our content, have a little look, see if there's anything you like. We've had ex-players on the podcast. We've had different match previews. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, there was a tier list video available for you to watch. So if that's something you're interested in watching, maybe go and check that out because it's a tier list ranking all 30 members of the Albion squad. And I think it was a decent video, so maybe go and check it out. If you want to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, I'd love to hear them. But yeah, this is a match preview for Southampton. As I said, kicks off on Monday at the Hawthorns at 6 o'clock, which is a big game for Albion. Can we keep that momentum rolling? Can we keep the unbelievable dream of a great escape, the greatest of great escapes, alive? We will find out on Monday night. But this is a match preview. We're going to be going through all the stats and facts, so make sure you subscribe and make sure you like the video if you've enjoyed and comment your score predictions down below. Let's get straight into it. So, Southampton versus West Bromwich Albion. Going to be an interesting clash. The last one ended up in a 2-0 defeat for Albion at the St Mary's Stadium. It was certainly an interesting fixture, one in which I didn't particularly enjoy because we were just so flat in that performance. We let Southampton sort of just walk into us in that sort of sense. We don't have the best record against Southampton. We haven't won against them since 2016, which is quite an interesting stat to look at, which was a 2-1 victory at St Mary's Stadium, and that included a fantastic goal from Robson Khan, if I remember rightly, which was a nice little finish to say the least. We've also had a nice goal from Solomon Rondon, I remember, but we'll talk a bit more about my memories of the clash. But let's have a look at both teams' form. Obviously, Albion having what I can only describe as a freak result against Chelsea. Could it continue this form? It's sure to give the players some confidence. But, you know, if you think about it, if we go out and play on the front foot like we did in that Chelsea game, I think we've got every chance. I think we obviously wanted it a lot, and we obviously wanted it a bit more than Chelsea, and we took the game to them, which I really liked, which is pretty awesome. So for me, we've got to go out there and put in a similar performance. I think if we do that, I think we've got a real chance of getting a result. In terms of Southampton's form, they beat Burnley in their last game 3-2. They also beat Bournemouth 3-0 the game before in the FA Cup. Then they've had a couple of losses against Man City and Brighton. It's going to be difficult. I think we've got it in us to beat them. I think not perhaps their squad isn't great, but they've still got some very good players in there. To name a couple, Danny Ings is obviously a real threat. They got players like Stuart Armstrong, who is in some really good form at the moment. As far as I'm aware, scoring some nice goals, scoring some very good goals as well for Southampton over the past game or so. Then they've got James Ward-Prowse, who's of course their captain, their sort of essential piece to the puzzle in that Southampton team. We've still been on we might be going on to a decent run now. We never know, but it's got to start here. It's got to start against Southampton. If it's not going to start against Southampton, it's probably not going to start at all. So this is the game that we really need to win, one that we really need to go out there, get on the front foot and start looking for the victories, because all we need now is momentum. Even if it means we don't stay up, I'd like to still see a positive end to the season rather than the probably massively negative one that most people thought we were going to have. Even if we go down, I still want to see passion. I still want to see 100% commitment from the Albion team in these final 8 games remaining. We've got 24 points to play for. You guys have been sending in your predictions for the last few games of where we're going to get points from, where we're not going to get points from. But this is going to be a difficult game for us. In terms of lineups, what I go for, I think Ivanovic is very doubtful. I think O'Shea is quite doubtful by the looks of things. I'm not sure what Big Sam said, but because I didn't watch him the other day. But my predicted lineup would probably be Johnston in goal. I'd probably go for a centre-back pairing of Ajayi and Bartley if O'Shea isn't injured. Right back Furlong, left back Townsend, Yukushlu sitting in that CDM position. Then I'd probably go for a bit of a different thing in midfield. I might still keep with Maitland-Niles. Maybe you'd add in Conor Gallagher as well, but I'd like to see Pereira in that middle of midfield. I'd like to see him in that centre midfield position in front of Maitland-Niles and Yokushlu, and then maybe I'd like to see Phillips on one side, Robinson perhaps on another, and then Diagne, of course, up front. However, I'm not convinced that he'll play Robinson, because I think he might see Robinson now as a bit more of an impact sub. He's obviously proved himself that he can come off the bench and do a really good job. So we'll see about what Big Sam does about that. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see who he plays and what sort of system he goes for. Obviously, we've got Conor Gallagher coming back from obviously being ineligible against his parent club Chelsea in the previous game. Of course, we're going to see whether he's whether Big Sam's going to play him or whether he's just going to stick with the similar lineup as he did play the other day. I think the lineup worked in that second half. Whether it's because Chelsea had a man sent off or whether it's because we just played really, really well. But I like the way that Big Sam took a more positive approach to the game. I just wish we'd have done that in games like... I feel like the one game that was really crying out for that was maybe something like the Burnley game, maybe even the Man United game that was just crying out for us to throw a few men forward. I think if we do that again, I think we've got a real chance. Southampton, in terms of their injuries, I'm not sure how they're looking. Let's have a look at who that might be doubtful. Walker-Peters might be doubtful, apparently. We obviously know Oriol Romeu is out for the season. And then Obafemi is also doubtful, but he hasn't been playing very much for Southampton whatsoever. Probably needs a loan, that guy, to go down to the Championship or something to get some game time. In terms of how I feel the game will go, we'll talk about that in a minute. But in terms of recent clashes, I mentioned a goal from Harry Robson-Kanu, which was a fantastic finish, which resulted in a really, really nice goal for Albion in a game I think we lost, actually. So took the sweetener away from Robson-Kanu's goal in that particular clash. We tend to lose against Southampton. I remember there was this game a couple of years ago in the season we went down, and it was basically we let Mario Lemina run the show, who's obviously now on loan at Fulham, but we let him run the show. We let him pick the ball up from deep and just constantly drive at us. It was quite embarrassing, to be quite honest. I was particularly embarrassed as an Albion fan to be watching that. I think it was under Pardew as well, so it just makes things a little bit worse. We don't, as I said, don't think we have the best record against them. Drawing them in the FA Cup a couple of seasons ago and losing 2-1 in that particular game. I remember a game that we had against them where Adam Wingy scored twice. Was that in the league or not? That was in the Premier League, apparently. I don't quite remember that. And then I think we beat them 3-0 the corresponding fixture. I think we had a game where Ricky Lambert scored a last-minute penalty, which absolutely boiled my blood. I remember being on the train ride. I think me and my dad took the train that once, which isn't something we normally do, but I was pretty angry about that. Honestly, I was quite fuming. But yeah, that wasn't the best game either. I think, yeah, Ricky Lambert scored like a last-minute penalty, 90th minute or something like that, and it just did not help, to be quite honest. I think it actually came just a couple of seconds before the full-time whistle, so that wasn't a particularly pleasurable fixture for me. Apart from that, I'm fairly distant from memories against Southampton. Obviously, I mentioned the goal that Harry Robson-Kanu scored. I think, not sure whether that was in a game we won or whether it was in a game we lost, but it was a beautiful strike. Van Dijk couldn't keep up with Harry Robson-Kanu there. So yeah, best centre-back in the world, can't keep up with Kanu in a race and can't block his shot. But yeah, those are the sorts of memories I have from clashes with Southampton. Feel free to just drop your memories in the comments below. Obviously, I'm not a bit fuzzy with that sort of thing against Southampton, but feel free to drop yours in the comments below. In terms of score prediction, it's a difficult one to predict because it's typical Albion. You've just absolutely trounced Chelsea. What are you going to do next? Are you going to go and lose to Southampton, or are you going to go and put in a decent performance? We're not sure, to be quite honest. It could be either. It really could. So, I'm going to say 1-0 Albion, and I'm going to say that goal's going to come from Mbaye Diagne. I think it's going to be an interesting fixture, of course, but I think that we might just have the edge. I don't think we'll go for that all-out attacking approach. It's just typical that we'll go and beat a really good side in Chelsea, a side that was unbeaten under Thomas Tuchel before we met them. But yeah, I think we need a victory here to keep that momentum flowing. Obviously, we'll see. At the moment, I'm recording this before the Wolves and Fulham game, so you guys will see just how many points that we need to keep going with our momentum chasing, and then obviously Burnley playing Newcastle on Sunday, which is a big game for both sides. I count Burnley as fairly out of it, but I think Newcastle are still reachable. Burnley, unless they go and pull a shocker and lose their next 5 games or so, I think they'll be safe. But I think a 1-0 victory, I'm going to go for an Mbaye Diagne goal. It's just going to be a cross. I'm envisioning this now. It's going to be a cross. It's deflected into his path, and literally you're going to do nothing else but score from that position. So yeah, it's just going to fall to him right in the 6-yard box, and he's just going to all he's going to have to do is tap it past the keeper. So yeah, if that happens, you come back to this video and you tell me you can come and tell me that I was right about it all. But yes, that is my match prediction. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Albion victory. But that brings us to the end of this match preview for West Bromwich Albion versus Southampton, which kicks off at 6 p.m. on Monday night. An interesting fixture. Leave your score predictions in the comments below. I'd really love to hear them. Let me know what you think, and let me know how you rate our chances of staying up. Of course, there will be a podcast on Monday, and then there will be a podcast in the middle of the week as well, which is going to be an hour-long special with a former Albion man. You might know that by now. If you're following on our Twitter pages, you'll know who it is. At the Baggies pod or at @LouisBent_. If you check either of those pages out, you'll be able to see who it is, and you'll be able to see what special episode is coming in the middle of the week. But of course, there'll be a podcast coming at the start of the week, just after the Southampton game, and one coming in the middle of the week. So make sure you're staying tuned for that, because obviously you really don't want to miss that, to be quite honest. But yeah, that does bring us to the end of the Baggies podcast this week. Baggies podcast match preview this week. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Drop us a like, and go down in the comment section and tell me your score predictions. And I'll see you next time in the next video here on the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. See you later. Bye-bye.